feels better soon. But we are getting underway here for the last best of 3 today. This morning for me, probably tonight to some of you. It's barely 7 o'clock in the AM over here. Woke up at 4 AM to start casting this. Dragon told me, hey, I'm not feeling so hot. You do everything today. And it's kind of like, oh, great, now I'm adminning too. So I'm finally glad we got all this behind us. And this last best of 3, I can take a nap after it's all done and breathe a sigh of relief. Because I'm not going to lie, I was a little bit stressed trying to be afraid whether things would work out well today or not. At any rate, spawning here in the top right corner of the map, fresh and new in this best of 3. It's going to be the Red Terran player from Root Gaming. Give it up for Supernova. And his opponent in the bottom left. It is none other than the Blue Terran, who I think is teamless. Used to be on MVP, alive. So much team trading going on in Korea. I really hate this because it's like, yo, I want to be able to introduce these players, but I don't actually know if they're on a team versus not on a team. Liquipedia says currently not on a team, so that's what I'm going to stick with for now. But everyone who's getting on me with the plural of sheep, I know that the plural of sheep is geese, okay, guys? You don't need to tell me. I'm very aware. With the plural of sheep. Anyways, all still his joke shenanigans aside, TVT is very interesting here on the Korean server. We cast some of the Korean qualifiers. If you guys missed it, we had an entire best of 3 TVT with Journey versus Cure that lasted a sum total of like 9 minutes. There's been really depressing ways the matchup's been changed up. There's been a lot of ways that it ends quickly early on. You know, right now we're seeing a lot of 1-1-1 openers. You know, those 7 Marines, 3 Hellions, 1 Medevac, just end the game and wreck people's faces. We're also seeing a lot of situations where Reapers are winning the game. I think TVT is one of the more interesting matches to watch and enjoy if it can get to that late game stage where it's Marine tank versus Marine tank or mech versus Marine tank or whatever. Well, I guess if it's a mech, then you're going to have Marauder Marine tank. But still, the point is, you want it to get to that macro game, and you don't want it to end abruptly, and you don't want it to end too soon. But both players actually opening up with the Marine. No one going with that Reaper opener. We checked the gases as well. No one's taking that second one quite just yet. So if there is going to be Banshees, it's not the fastest Banshees possible. But the safe opener out of both leading into Command Center by the looks of it, I want to say. Both gonna, yeah, Reactor, get those Marines out quick as you can. Skip past the factory for now. Get that cash money flowing. Low ground CC for Supernova, high ground CC here for Alive. So I like this. Right off the bat, we're not seeing that cheese. We're not seeing that all-in move that could potentially end the game. We're not seeing a big devotion of units and resources to try and knock down your opponent's like couple of Marines that they have. So instead, we might actually get that macro game that I've been yearning and moaning for. Whether we actually do or not, we'll have to wait a moment and see. Because one of the big things, of course, is what tech path do these guys delve down. Mech is less common, I think, in TVT than it used to be. There was a time where we were watching players like MMA, for example, regularly go mech. Innovation started doing it for a while. We saw Joxy doing it a lot. And then everyone kind of shied away from it and went back towards the bio style to play. One of the biggest reasons for that is because Doom drops are just, you could not deal with it as mech. But First Blood, gonna get nailed there with the SUV. Supernova, by the way, I don't know what happened here, but he took a huge resource lead. So I'm not sure if Alive just like screwed up with this CV micro or maybe pulled a little too much off, but the income advantage visible to you all. This chart will usually die in a little bit of time. It's still a beta feature here in GameHeart. There's a lot of things to work out and kinks to fix, but I'm loving the idea of including these. I think it's going to lead to some cool stuff in the future, and I really love this chart the most. Because we always talk about like what happens down here, but you know, you guys see these numbers, you're probably thinking nothing of it. Anyways, Supernova out here with a couple Marines is a little bit bold. What is scary to consider is he doesn't know what his opponent has, and had, say, Alive open with mech, he'd have about 6 Hellions out, 5 Hellions out. He does have 2 on all these Marines. Supernova's just gonna suicide here. You can't get away at this point. If I get a Hellion for his trouble, we'll get a Hellion for his trouble. Hardly worth it. But back at home, a Viking coming out here pretty darn quick. He was expecting the Banshee from his opponent, and actually Alive scans for this. So scans to see exactly what his opponent's tech path was. I know Tech Labs. This might actually prompt him to push, not right now, but sooner than later. Because one of the big things he's going to identify is, oh, hey, he's not going to have siege tanks for a long time. But Hellions from Supernova now sitting aside his opponent's base. Gave away those Marines earlier. Let's hope it doesn't give away the Hellions. He will actually scout the medevac, maybe? Oh, I don't actually know if you saw that. I don't think he did. But the Viking, the 2 Hellions should be here to hold pretty okay. Hellion fight gonna work really well for Alive to start because he gets that nice number advantage. But of course, it's all about that bonus versus light. Hellions versus Hellions, like some of the most volatile stuff in StarCraft 2. But Supernova should be able to hold it home. Oh, he's A-moving though. He's too busy running away with his own Hellions to get them back into the main. It's going to cost him the Viking, sadly, but it did strip the medevac away from Alive, so with a couple of good Hellion volleys, he should be able to tear down these, no problem. He also pulled the SCVs out of the natural already, so he knew the counterattack was coming. Both players don't lose much. One SCV goes down here for, wait, what? Was that? Did he just kill an SCV? Okay, I wasn't... brain fart moment here, but hardly the end of the world here. I like that Alive didn't dedicate too much to that. It gives a drop, and he ran to the natural, and the idea was if SCVs were here, he shreds them to bits, but there weren't, so he left and didn't stay too long. One of the other things here, too, is the Raven on the way is a little bit interesting. Of course, it's going to get free detection on all this, but we do see that Alive is moving towards mech, possibly off the back end. Yeah, mech is going to come down for sure off this. Supernova scans this as well. He's going to respond with his own mech. Oh my god, are we going to have mech versus mech? Okay, hang on. This is where I actually get legitimately excited. Because here's how stupid mech versus mech is for TVT, guys. First things first, it relies a lot on the Vikings, as weird as that is to consider, as well as the odd Banshee or two that gets cranked out. But more importantly, on top of this, one of the greatest things to watch is how stupid the Hellion fights are going to be. Because you're going to have, like, 20 plus Hellions on each side of the field that all volley down each other very quickly, that all get the tank shot off to do a little bit of splash damage. Banshee here is going to get about maybe 2 kills on those SCVs, by the way, but once again, he's got that Raven out, so detection is going to be pristine and perfect. But the Raven's got 2 awesome roles moving forward outside of detection. One, you can point defense drone if your opponent was going for Marauders. You can point defense drone if your opponent was going for Thors. But you can also ensure Seeker Missile to kill tanks. Sometimes the biggest thing about mech versus mech is usually the tank positioning, but Hellions, unlike Marines, very fast by default. They don't need to stim or anything. They can top of the dead zone, the dead range pretty quickly. And I am liking the fact that we're going to get mech versus mech because, once again, we're going to see a lot of Blue Flame Hellions run into other Blue Flame Hellions, and both players are just going to basically explode, lose a large portion of their army each. I do like that Alive is getting aggressive here with the Banshees. You know, even if it's just picking off an SCV to stall at the factory, that screws with production. He's also going to pull off mining here, albeit momentarily. Where are those Vikings? There we go. So he'll kill another Banshee for his troubles. I don't know why I just said it like a Midwestern mom. This Banshee, the Banshee, goes down. I'm going to stop talking like that. The other Banshee looks like it will also fall, so holds this up really nicely. Had he kept those Banshees alive, that would have been, I think, fantastic coming to the mid-game where you're trying to deal with the tanks. Pick 1 or 2 off at a time. But yeah, this is going to be volatile. Like, if you guys... Okay. In StarCraft 2, you guys have seen Hydralisk versus Hydralisk. You've seen Hydralisk versus Roach. You've seen how glass cannon-y those units can be. It's going to be even 10 times more insane. Now, you might think, like, 24 Hellions to 14, Supernova doesn't stand a chance. But once again, with the way the splash works on these units and the fact that they're light, it's so dumb. They're so glass cannon-y. Supernova's got his blue flame up a little bit sooner, but oh, the depots are down! Oh, this might just be game right here, guys. He's going for a base trade, goes for the other side of the map himself. Blue flame on top of blue flame. Vikings on top of this. Raven, sadly, is going to go down. Both boys lose their Ravens, but with this siege tank up, there's no way to deal with the siege tank. Clears out the Hellions so he can land the Vikings on top of this, but he's lost so many of his own Hellions in the process. Meanwhile, he's lost everything at home. Supernova has no money to work with. Even the siege tank's going to go down. Blue flame might not do a lot of damage to tanks, but it still does damage. This, I don't think, went the way either player was expecting, but it works out a lot better here for Alive. Oh, but those Hellions... Oh! SCVs were lined up and couldn't quite land those hits. Coming back home with his own Hellions, Alive is going to hold this, and Supernova is down to 10 SCVs at this point. There's no way he gets the damage to even this up. Yeah, GG. Well freaking played. Game number 1 going to go to Alive. But, more importantly, while we get the next map up, because it's going to be Catalina, and I hate myself so much because it is Catalina, we got a sub. Who is this guy? Ailing. Awling? I'm sorry, I never pronounced names correctly. By the way, if you guys are ever unsatisfied with the way I pronounce your name on Twitch, send me a PM teaching me how to pronounce it phonetically. I beg you.